I use Dragon NaturallySpeaking so that I can protect my hands from the keyboard and the mouse. Lately, my Dragon had been crashing and not working properly, so I called the tech number that I found online. The technician on the other end of the line told me that Dragon 15 was no longer supported, and I had to upgrade to Dragon 16, which would cost me $349 unless I decided to buy their special package for endless upgrades that would cost me $999. I felt like Dragon was forcing me to upgrade, but I wasn't about to spend $1,000 for more upgrades. So I paid the $349 and the technician installed the new program for me. The problem was my old profile didn't work. You have to train Dragon, and you build a user profile and it remembers a lot of your special words and commands. But this guy didn't seem to understand how to do that. Plus, he didn't know how to make the microphone go from the top of the screen into the tray below where I could see that it was on by the color of the microphone. He didn't know how to do that for me. So when I turned on Dragon, I had to keep it up where I could see it all the time and it would be blocking my tabs. In fact, he didn't really seem to understand what I was even asking for. And you'd think the tech support people would know all these functions. Before we signed off, he made a special file for me with his name and the tech support number that I should call if I had any future problems. So I saved it. And every time I opened the Dragon in the morning, I would get this pop-up and it said that the previous version didn't work anymore and I needed to use some sort of wizard to upgrade. That didn't work. So I called the tech support people and they went online and they figured it out and got my program to work. This went on for about 5 days. I finally called the support at Nuance to figure out what was going on, and boy, did I get a shock. They asked me for my serial number and then they couldn't find it in their system, but they did find my name and phone number to prove that I was a genuine Dragon NaturallySpeaking customer. They knew that I had Dragon 15. I insisted that I had just purchased Dragon 16 from them. And then they said, no, you didn't purchase it from us. Who did you purchase it from? I didn't realize that there was any other option. When I told them the name of the company that appeared on my credit card, they told me that that was not an authorized reseller of Dragon. So now I was really stuck. I need Dragon. So I decided to upgrade to Dragon 16 with the official company. They gave me a reference number and said someone would be calling me and I would be able to download the program and get it working the next day. I thought that was kind of strange. You know, why couldn't I do it right now? But I went along with the program and eventually the program did work. When I turned on my computer in the morning, it worked. When I wanted the microphone to go into the little icon tray, that worked. So the next thing I had to do was call my bank. When I went through the process of protesting the charge, I was asked whether or not I had contacted the company, and I hadn't. So I decided to call them. So I got someone on the phone and I asked for his name. He wouldn't give me his name. I told him the problem. I said, my program has never worked. I want my money back. He said, we can fix it for you. Do you want us to fix it? I said, no, I've been through this for 5 days. It never works. I have to start all over in the morning. And he kept trying to get me to let them fix it. And I kept saying no. And finally I said, you are not an authorized reseller. I want my money back, or I'm going to take this to my bank. And he said, okay, I'll send you your money back. And I asked when I would be able to receive it. And he said within 2 business days. I didn't know if that would really be the case, but I said, okay. And the next day I found the money refunded in my credit card. So I'm telling you this because I don't want you to make the same mistake. And I've invited Alexandria Karstens of Speakeasy Solutions. She's my own personal Dragon consultant to talk about this. When I called her to tell her what was going on, she says, oh, this happens all the time. So maybe Alexandria can give us some insight into what we need to do to protect ourselves from people who could be selling, I don't know, bootleg copies of Dragon. So I contacted Nuance and I was trying to reach their public relations or media department so that I could get a name of authentic resellers that you could go to so that you don't face the same problem that I did. Because while I got my money back, I'm afraid that you might lose yours. So I wanted to give you this information so that you could protect yourself from any kind of fraud. Well, it was really difficult. I was on the phone for almost 10 minutes with Nuance trying to get the name of the public relations person. And after asking me for my name and my phone number and having to spell things a million times and correct the misspellings, the woman on the other end of the line would not give me the name of the PR person. And usually, you'd think they'd be very eager to get some press about how wonderful their product is, but they didn't, respond to me. So she finally gave me an email address that was very strange. It wasn't the name of a person or anything. So I wrote to them, explained the situation, saying that I was doing this video and I wanted to give my viewers the best information about how to protect themselves from fraud. Well, no one got back to me. I told them I had a deadline, and that deadline is long past. So I brought in my secret weapon when it comes to Dragon, Alexandria Karstens of Speakeasy Solutions. And she's my own personal Dragon consultant and has helped me through many, many problems with Dragon. And I'm deeply indebted to her. But when we talked a little bit about this previously, she said that my experience wasn't uncommon. So, Alexandria, can you talk a little bit more about what people need to watch out for and maybe give us some stories of things that you've heard about people getting, I don't know if it's a bootleg copy or the real thing, or how does it even work?
Well, it's a scam. So there are legitimate resellers of Dragon, and of course there are the illegitimate sellers of Dragon. And Nuance and Microsoft are aware of a lot of them. Unfortunately, as they, in their words, and it's a good way of explaining it, it's like whack-a-mole. As soon as they shut down one illegitimate organization, they pop up under different domain name and all kinds of other different information. But there are things you can do to protect yourself as a consumer and try and avoid these people at all costs. So both of this is combined with what to watch for, but also how this happens. It's pretty insidious. There are a number of illegitimate organizations offering Dragon support because, as awesome as Dragon is, it's helpful if people can get some advice, right? Everyone needs help with
I've
their
tried to use Dragon support, and I frankly don't have the best experience with them. I'm sorry to break it.
no. It's you and a lot of other people. I hear that from my own customers who, haven't found my information or anything as quick as possible. But anyway, that's besides the point. So because there are a lot of illegitimate organizations out there who will promise to help you with Dragon, they usually know a bit. But what they do is they get access to your computer. So because and that's not uncommon, right? I ask all my clients always to load an application that allows me access to their computer to help guide them, support, train, fix, you name it. Which in itself isn't nefarious. What's nefarious is that these so-called support people will log on to a user's system and they get the license code for Dragon. They get your license code. So what they do with that license code is they in turn sell it. So that is how they
So
get.
they're selling me back the program that I bought initially.
What can happen is then another user wants to buy Dragon, whether it's an upgrade or a full copy, and these support people will have an arsenal of license codes that they can then sell. So and that's the very nasty part. Now Dragon, Nuance, Microsoft, they only allow certain number of activations with Dragon, and that is true. So usually it's 2 for version 16, version 15, and before it's 4. But the support people, the fake support people, are counting on the fact that you've only installed it once. So there's one more activation available, and they then put that on the block to sell. So not only do you pay them for this so-called support, they capture your information and your license code and then turn around and sell it to someone else for even more money.
Wow. This explains a lot, because when I would go in every morning, it would stop working. And every morning I would get that prompt that says, this is no longer supported. You need to upgrade. So I think what was happening was I was still using Dragon 15, and
Right.
somehow these guys knew how to get around it.
Yeah. There are ways. I can't get into them publicly, as I'm sure you can imagine, but yeah. They have some tricks up their sleeve.
Yeah, and they wouldn't answer any questions.
No.
I mean, I kept asking questions, and I couldn't get them to do basic functions that all about. And so it was very frustrating for me. So people should buy Dragon directly from the official
Nuance website. That's one way to go about it. But as you mentioned, Nuance support is not necessarily as helpful as you might want it to be for your concerns. And you can purchase from a reseller. Honestly, I would encourage people to buy from resellers, good resellers, because then you have an in with support. And most of us don't mind helping a little bit, for, not any money. But if it is a major issue, then yes, we would like to get paid. But guess what? You're going to get good support. You're going to get good training. You're going to have someone knowledgeable who's not going to run in circles and like a chicken with their head cut off trying to provide
How
you
do
with.
you tell if they're authorized?
It should say on their website. So that's the thing to watch for on their websites. They shouldn't hide, like the company you dealt with. They were very good at hiding the fact that they sold Dragon. So any proper reseller, it will be very evident that they resell Dragon, that they support Dragon, and that they're an authorized reseller. And have a look at the whole website. Okay, so in other words, if you click on something and you get like a holding page, like it doesn't feel like a complete website, it feels wrong, it probably is. And don't be afraid to Google search that company either.
Yeah.
And it's interesting what you might find. And see if they have referrals and people testimonials on their website. And if they do have testimonials, Google the people giving the testimonials, and
That's a
don't
good
be
idea.
to reach out to them. Right?
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So essentially, you're looking for a fairly professional website. Like I said, click everywhere. Make sure everything feels legitimate. And be prepared. Oh, the other thing I want to mention is if you end up inadvertently buying from an illegitimate organization, immediately contact your credit card company. Well, first you have to contact the reseller and say, can you give me my money back? I'm not happy with this. And if they drag their feet and don't give you your money back, then the next recourse is to contact your credit card company and have them reverse the charge.
Yes, which I did. I did that. So, and I fortunately got my money back. I think they didn't want to deal with my bank.
Right.
Because I said, I know you're not authorized.
Wow.
And that immediately, he says, okay. And I said, when can I expect my money? And he said, 1 to 2 business days.
Wow, that's impressive. You
Yeah.
scared them.
Well, I was a consumer advocate for many years as a reporter, so I'm on the side of, people getting proper um,
Yeah.
proper treatment. Well, Alexandria, I want to thank you for once again saving the day here with Dragon. And we really appreciate you coming on. And so anybody out there, take heed, do your research, make sure that you're getting a legitimate copy of Dragon, and do use Dragon because it will save your hands. If you've had any similar problems, please drop them in the comments below so that other people know what to watch out for. And be sure to watch the video that's coming up next for more great information on repetitive strain injury.